What have I done?
Stan Lee's Marvel Universe has some of the best plots and characters that reflect our real lives and push our imagination to the furthest reaches of fantasy. So we'd like to focus on one of the most inspirational anti-heroes in the Marvel Universe, Magneto, and bring you 10 of the most badass Magneto scenes.
Just a reminder about our new giveaway. We're giving away the new iPad Pro or the new iMac Pro. The choice is yours. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple.
Number 10. Magneto always beats Wolverine. Since Magneto is a high-level mutant that controls metal and magnetism, Wolverine never stands a chance against Magneto toe-to-toe. Even though Wolverine has hyper-rejuvenating abilities, a skeleton covered with indestructible metal alloy from outer space called adamantium, and razor-sharp claws, he can't touch Magneto. In every cinematic confrontation between the two, Wolverine seems like a small chihuahua, all bark but no bite. In the X-Men 2000, Magneto splits open a train car as if he were splitting a banana. As he levitates inside the train, Wolverine gives a warning by ejecting his claws and falls in his iconic battle stance. But that is as far as the fight goes for Wolverine. Magneto simply magnetizes his adamantium skeleton and tosses him with the flick of his finger. That begone flick of the wrist dismissal occurred several times. In X-Men The Last Stand, the anti-hero Magneto attempted to manipulate the godlike character, Phoenix, whose alternate personality is Jean Grey. As Magneto and his army of mutants camp in the woods to plan their attack, Wolverine fights his way through mutant security to convince Phoenix to turn her back on Magneto's cause. Even though Magneto was preoccupied, he was able to sense the atoms in Wolverine's adamantium skeleton, and once Magneto had the chance, he again flung Wolverine hundreds of feet with no regard of all the trees Wolverine was being slammed against. In Days of Future Past, Magneto attempted to give Wolverine a horrible death in a watery grave. To prevent Magneto from killing the US president and cabinet, Wolverine attempts a blitz assault filled with the raging moans of an animal. However, with ease, Magneto rips rebars from concrete columns and intertwines them through Wolverine's body. And with the flick of his wrist, Wolverine is repelled miles away, splashes into the sea, and quickly sinks to the bottom, unable to move. Number 9. Too much iron in your diet. At the beginning of X-Men 2, 2003, the audience finds Magneto under plastic lock and keys, harassed and beaten. With the depressing circumstances of the cell, people actually feel sorry for the old anti-hero. But his time in the plastic prison was short-lived. Actually, Magneto and his right-hand woman, Mystique, only needed a clever way to smuggle metal into the prison. The chameleon-like Mystique used her powers to impersonate Senator Kelly to gain access to confidential information of the whereabouts of Magneto. Once that was accomplished, she was able to seduce one of the lonely guards while off duty, drug him via drinks, and inject liquid metal into his veins. The following day, the prison guard, still angry from the drug fit hangover, served Eric Leecher for the last time as Magneto drained all the metal from his body, causing the guard to die immediately. In this scene, we'll never forget Magneto's sarcastic words. "You have too much iron in your diet."
Too much iron in your blood.
Magneto takes the iron into two balls, which whirl around him like a force field, and hovers his way out of the prison while using the balls of iron as destructive bullets. Number 8. No honor. Mystique escapes from prison. In the escape scene in the X-Men 2 of 2000, the viewers could muster a modicum of sympathy for Magneto, and in X-Men The Last Stand in 2006, they were able to witness another extraordinary prison break and rejoice at their release. However, you won't believe what happened next. After Magneto was able to locate Mystique, he intercepted the mobile prison caravan. With steady precision and some flicks of the wrist, Magneto lifts the front car, crushes them, and easily rolls rear guard's SUV off the road. He proceeds to detach the semi-truck from the trailer, which holds the prisoners, and flings it over his head while the momentum of the trailer slows down right in front of him. As the mutants were being released and being introduced, one guard came to and shot off a needle round of the cure, which could take mutants' X gene away, thus making them normal humans. Mystique quickly used her body as a shield to protect Magneto, and she dropped to the floor. Her body suffered spasms, and her blue skin disintegrated into normal complexion. The audience was left with hard feelings towards Magneto, as he abandoned his right-hand woman simply because she was no longer a mutant.
I'm sorry, my dear.
You're not one of us anymore.
The dishonorable Magneto left her cold and weak, lying naked on the floor. Number 7. Magneto versus the NY Police. Another massive display of Magneto's might was seen in X-Men 2000 during the kidnap scene of Rogue. With Wolverine already tossed like a pebble out of the way, Magneto, Sabretooth, and Toad only needed to get through the police to make their getaway. Professor Xavier at that point was the only counter to their plan. Exiting out of the train station, Magneto lifts his hands with cars rising in his direction and slams them on top of the other cars, sending police diving out of harm's way. As Magneto had his special helmet that blocks psychic frequencies, Professor X had no choice but to possess Sabretooth and forced him to grab the neck of Magneto to force submission. That plan quickly backfired as Magneto took control of all of the police officers' guns, caught them, and asked Charles Xavier if he really wanted a Mexican standoff. Of course, Professor X is a hero and not an anti-hero, so he stepped down to spare the lives of tens of police officers.
Still unwilling to make sacrifices.
Number 6. Magneto destroys Auschwitz extermination camp. In 1944, a young Eric Lehnsherr was forcibly separated from his parents by Nazi soldiers in German-occupied Poland. After this stress, Eric Lehnsherr's powers began to manifest in his fright. While Nazi guards forced the kid away from his parents, Eric refused to leave them. In his screams of horror, we were able to see the first display of the future Magneto, as the metal gates with barbed wire tops twisted and bent like noodles. Finally, one of the soldiers gave him a big head bop on the head to render him unconscious. The next glimpse of Eric Lehnsherr's childhood we have is in X-Men First Class. It picks up right after the childhood scene in X-Men 2000. Antagonist Sebastian Shaw is a top scientist at Auschwitz, and Eric's display of power piqued his interest, which sat Eric and his mom right into the fire after jumping out of the pot. To force Eric to demonstrate his power again, Shaw threatens to shoot his mother. Since Eric couldn't control his power at his own will at that time, his mother is shot point blank. Anger seemed to be the key to unlock Eric's powers because he harnessed it, wrecked the office, trashed the laboratory, and used the guard's metal helmet to crush their skulls. Finally, after seeking his revenge and killing Shaw, Eric Lehnsherr tried to become a normal person with a beautiful family and a 9-to-5 job. After using his powers to save his co-worker's life, the local police took notice and kidnapped his daughter to force a confession from Eric and ease his arrest. During the confrontation, one police officer accidentally released a bow from an arrow that struck right through his daughter and wife. After killing all the police with an amulet, he confronts the co-workers who betrayed him by informing the police. In this case, snitches didn't get stitches.
Henryk, proszę cię, nie rób tego!
My name is Magneto.
They got death by the telepathic powers of Apocalypse. Apocalypse asks Eric to join his group, making Magneto one of the 4 horsemen who are guards and commanders for Apocalypse. To show Magneto his true power, Apocalypse takes Magneto back to the Auschwitz extermination camp and coaches Magneto how to maximize his power. In this incredible scene, we see the full destructive power of Magneto. Number 5. Magneto versus Naval Fleet. By the end of First Class, Magneto has gone complete malevolent. After the newly formed X-Men save the day, American and Soviet military forces unite to neutralize what they view as a threat in the form of mutants. With Magneto and the rest of the mutants cornered on a beach, both the American and Russian Navy fleet launched multiple missiles at the beach location, targeting the mutants. Magneto, of course, stops them mid-air and fires them back at the military vessels. The external struggle between Magneto and Professor X begins. Magneto believes in by any means necessary, including death and destruction, where Professor X does everything in his power to protect human and mutant lives. The beach conflict led to Moira McTaggart taking up arms against Magneto, and a stray bullet hits Professor X in the spine, which condemned him to life of being confined to a wheelchair. Number 4. Magneto's first attack on Sebastian Shaw. Magneto spent a good portion of time hunting down Nazis to eventually find Sebastian Shaw, the person who killed his mother. 2 scenes in particular revealed Magneto's strength and determination. In X-Men First Class, Magneto and Xavier meet each other for the first time, as they were both unknowingly on the same mission, which was to capture Shaw. However, Magneto preferred to simply kill Shaw. After Magneto used the chain and anchor to rip Shaw's luxury yacht into scrap metal, Shaw and his constituents escaped via submarine. This did not hinder Magneto, however. He drove in the water and tried to force the submarine out of the water. Either he would have died or been unsuccessful, but Professor X jumped into the water to help Magneto calm his mind.
You'll drown. You have to let go. I know what this means to you, but you're going to die.
This became the beginning of their friendship. Number 3. Magneto flings Shaw's submarine. Also in X-Men First Class, Magneto had his round 2 with Shaw's submarine, as Shaw was secretly instigating a world war by using false flag attacks on Americans and Russians during the Cold War era. The First Class X-Men were able to locate the stealthy submarine from the Black Bird. Once this was done, the next level was set where the onus was on Magneto to use his abilities to pull the submarine out of the water. It was an astonishing scene that you won't want to miss. Number 2. Magneto uses the RFK. In Days of Future Past, another must-see scene occurs when Magneto lifts the extremely large Robert F. Kennedy Memorial Stadium in Washington, D.C. and drops it around the White House. Along with the robotic sentinels that were originally created by Trask to round up and neutralize mutants, Magneto found a way to control the robots and force the highest office of the free world to bow down to his godlike magnificence. Number 1. The Golden Gate Bridge becomes a vehicle. Throughout the X-Men films, Magneto has used his powers to levitate, bend or destroy all sorts of structures. One of his best displays of power came when he lifted the Golden Gate Bridge and used it as a vehicle to transport his army of mutants to lead an attack on the organization that made the mutant cure. It's a must-see scene that you won't believe what happened next. And finally, the greatest demonstration that we have from Magneto is the time he used his powers to tap into the Earth's crust and rip out metal from below the oceans, and even ripped out the metal from major buildings around the world, like the Sydney Opera House, Empire State Building, shipyards, and more. All the metal around the world was being pulled into Magneto's magnetism to fulfill the Darwin-like rules of only the strongest survive, aka the apocalypse. You'll be surprised at what happened next. Which was your favorite X-Men scene, and which Magneto scene is forever in your memory? Leave your opinions in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more.
Just a reminder about our new giveaway. We're giving away the new iPad Pro or the new iMac Pro. The choice is yours. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple.